Chef Benny, how are you?
I'm good, man.
This guy's kind of a big deal, also literally, but
in a good way.
In a very good way.
Yeah.
Judge on MasterChef SA, celebrity chef. He's just been around, he's judging things. He's paid to eat and sometimes to cook. But mostly now to talk about eating on TV and cooking.
You know what? I've always liked, being in front of people and showing, my skills and stuff. But cooking is about making people happy. And I learned this from my mom, where she was always happy, to serve people and make them happy through, her cooking.
Yes.
And I learned that from her. And I think that chefs have a lot of love to give. That's why they do what they do.
How did a guy from the ghetto end up being a celebrity chef?
Influenced by, my mom and her drive. She started out as a cleaner in a toy shop, but, she didn't let her dreams end there because she couldn't study further and do things that she wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But she had love for food, and she got a job as a cleaner in a restaurant. And she decided, I'm going to stop working. I'm going to go, study cooking. And learn how to do things professionally and start my own business. So that's how it started. Yeah.
You look more like a hip hop star.
Yeah.
Than a chef. You should be where DJ Lag is. That's where you should be. Playing music.
Music plays a lot of, a big part in my life. And when I do things, I work, to a rhythm. Where if I'm chopping and if I have to be doing like something for, big numbers and stuff, and especially in my junior days where you would do one tedious job for like 3-4 hours, you need something to keep you going. And I think that music played a big part in that because I always work to a rhythm and just play something in my mind without having headphones and anything, but just do that, just to get through it, in my next life, I think I'll be photographer / musician / beat maker, but it plays a big part in also inspiring, what I do and in telling my story through food. /
body artist. The tattoos are kind of very pronounced.
Can I tell you something? Being in a kitchen, it's, it's something that is, that brings a lot of stress and pressure, obviously with delivering, in a short space of time, but we spend a lot of time in the kitchen and you need some avenue to vent, and to calm things down. Mm-hmm. And I think that, art, as it's also linked to food, is something that I would love, to have. And I've always admired hip-hop, artists. I'm a big fan of hip-hop. And a lot of, hip-hop artists have tats. But I also just enjoy, having that on me and displaying something. A lot of art means, and a lot of tattoos means a lot of things to different people.
Right.
I also have my own stories to tell behind my tats.
What are the stories behind your tats?
Well,
this looks very elaborate.
Yeah, so you see on this side, which I dedicated to Asia and South Africa, South African artist did this, and it goes right to my chest.
Wow.
Which is a dragon, Japanese peach tree, which a South African, artist did this. And on my on my left arm, I've got Maori or tribal tats, which I have, I got them done on 4 different islands: Jamaica, Madagascar, Mauritius, and also Australia, which is a big island. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I plan to finish this in New Zealand as, a tribute to, the Maori side of me, which is on the left-hand side.
Okay. So what is so unique about South African food?
South African food is colorful. We always claim that we are a rainbow nation, obviously encompassing everything about our history and everybody that, is in South Africa where, from the early days of colonization and all of that actually affected or actually directed, some of the dishes that we have now as national favorites. But we encompass a whole nation where there is diversity. Our food is colorful, our food tells a story, our food, we're able to express ourselves, through food, through art, through music. And this is my way of telling, my story and a South African story through a plate of food where I communicate with my guests, depending on my mood, my stress levels, my happiness, whatever I'm feeling, I'm able to then put that on a plate and communicate that with, my guests, depending on who they are.
In fact, depending on who they are, who is your favorite person you've cooked for?
I've cooked for a lot of people, sports people, actors, musicians.
Feel free to drop names.
Jay-Z and Beyonce when they came to South Africa.
Wow.
I was still actually a junior chef at that time, but I was given that task. And a whole lot of high-profile people that, even their identity was not revealed to us, where I would cook and everything, and then I would present the food, but I would not even see the face behind that. But the tip then would dictate.
You can tell who it is based on the tip.
They deal in oil or gold or diamonds, But my favorite was, my dad was a big follower of Fidel Castro. And I got to cook for him in 2001 when he came for a conference down in Durban. And, I got to work with his personal chef who, on the first day was really strict and wanted to do a whole lot of things and maybe dictate exactly what the president has. But after seeing what I could do in my offerings, he came the second day in his CVs and not wearing a chef's jacket and said, you know what, do the same that you
got
did.
This.
Yeah, and at the end of it, I got to get a couple of presents from them, cigars and obviously rum from Cuba, which I could take to my dad, who, for me, it was a proud moment, presenting him something from somebody that he never thought that he could meet.
Awesome. Finally, are you one of those thirsty people who, when you go to a restaurant, like, no, this steak is overdone and these things don't look proper?
You know what? As a chef, that always happens. And I just decide which mood I'm in. Whether it's, really critting that. If it's something that I have to do, I will do it. But if it's not right, I would also voice out, my...
Does your wife have pressure cooking for you at home?
She doesn't. I think, she's also a qualified chef. So she,
Your house must be delicious.
It is, man. But I also have this, other plan that I don't get to cook, at work and also at home. So I always compliment her and say that she's the best cook and I enjoy her food so that she cooks more than I do.
Well done.
Yeah.
You're a very wise man. Look at all the men nodding. They'll be like, oh, we should try that.
I know you guys want to be in my shoes right now, but yeah.
Wow, Chef Benny, thank you so much for coming on the show. You must come to Kenya and cook for us.
Thanks for having me. I would love to come to Kenya. Actually, I am coming to Kenya.
Oh, you are coming to Kenya? When?
Yeah. And I want to have you as a host so you can show me around and get up to a whole lot of things that, we're supposed to do in Kenya.
Awesome.